In this video, we will find the domain and range of linear equations. Pictured are primary vocabulary words that you should ensure you are familiar with. If you're not, I recommend that you look in prior notes and possibly videos online. Number 2, an amusement park charges $44.95 per person for admission and $20 per car for parking. Each car is limited to a maximum of 5 tickets. The equation shows a relationship between P, the number of people in the car, and C, the total cost in dollars. And the equation is given C equals 44.95 P plus 20. Which is the range of the situation if 1 to 4 tickets are purchased? Okay, to solve this problem with our TI-30XS or XB, or just simply the TI-30 family of multi-view calculators, what we need to do is enter our given equation in the table using the table function. So we push table. Okay, clear out what's there. And let's put in our 44.95x plus 20. Okay, we will push enter. Now we have a couple options. I like to start with 0. Steps of 1. Why steps of 1? Because our domain is in whole numbers. And for our domain, we need 1 to 4. But regardless, we understand one critical thing, and that is that people and the tickets involved, for people always, you will not sell portions of them. You do not sell at an any park at all in any situation. Business isn't going to say, oh, well, if half a person comes in, we'll sell you half a ticket. It just doesn't work that way. Okay. It's simply not real world. So that being said, we need to always have steps of 1. Now, we've got it set up to where we ask X. Now, if you're not using this option, it's very convenient. And so let's go through that process first, right? So let's push delete. Now we have a clear slate. Okay, you can delete out the 3 lines. Now it's a multi-view. That means only 3 lines. If you haven't watched videos with this, you don't know from before. That's all we have. So we can push 1 and 2 and 3, and that verifies the first 3 numbers. The problem is I only have 3 lines, so just type 4 and type over the last one. You can do it any way you want to, but that has verified that the numbers we have for option D are correct, okay? And that is our range, which is what we were looking for. Now, how do I know that it's not A, B, and C? Well, first, as I stated, C, that would be the domain, okay? So C is not an option. Now, why are A and B not options? Well, they're not options because we are looking for discrete data. And I alluded to that when I said we do not sell half a ticket for half a person. And also, my students always make me laugh because they want to put part of a person on a bus or in a car. They don't think about the real world situation. Well, that would be continuous. That is why A and B are incorrect. We are dealing with discrete data. A and B refer to types of continuous. Okay, so that's why those options are incorrect. We have 4 total costs for 1 to 4 people coming into the park in a car. Okay. To use the TI-Nspire to solve this problem, starting on the home page, what we need to do is graph. So you can arrow down and select graph. Okay, for me, it's a little easier. I'm on a computer. I can just push it, but you do need to arrow down and enter to get to graph. Okay, so there's one thing that I need you to understand. We're going to graph it, and then we're going to create the table. So let's enter our equation into our f of 1 as our first function. So 44.95, okay, x plus 20. All right, now let's enter that. Well, the graph, of course, as I alluded to. It isn't going to do us much good. However, we can add a table. So let's go to menu. And then as you see, table is number 7. So I've got mine highlighted, and then I'm going to push number 7. And it doesn't enter right away. I have to go a little bit longer route to get there. But as you see, now I have that. It has created a table with this function, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, the values, which coincide with option D. Okay. Now, as I said prior, option A and B are continuous information. Okay. And this question is discrete. Okay. That's depends on which part of the video you watch, if you saw the vocabulary or you skip through until you saw, your calculator being used. Now, how do I know it's not C? Uh, C is actually our domain, and the question asks for the range. Okay, so using our calculator, we have verified that option D is the correct values, the correct discrete values. And as I mentioned before, discrete means that you can't have any values between. You have to have 64.95. That's a dollar amount you pay for one car and one person. And then the next value is two people and one car. And the next one, 3 people in one car. And the last one is 4 people in one car. We do not cut the people in half to sell them, or we don't cut the tickets in half to sell to half a person. Okay, using the TI-84 to solve this particular problem, we will enter the equation that's given into our calculator. Okay. And remember, we're looking for range. Okay. We have from a prior video or part of the video, we selected D just out of process of elimination because we're looking for discrete information and range. Well, C is the domain. We've already stated that. And A and B are continuous, not discrete. However, let's verify D using the TI-84. What do we need to do? Well, we're on the beginning blank screen. You push Y equals, and I already have an equation entered in, but it's turned off. Watch, I'll push my graph. You see nothing. I go back to my Y equals, and I can turn that back on simply by highlighting the equals and pushing enter. So now let's graph that. And you see the blue line from that graph. So go back to your Y equal. And there's another thing. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off again. Actually, I'm not just going to turn it off. I'm going to clear it out completely. And remember, for the TI-84, push clear. Be careful pushing delete. Know when to use your delete button. When I use all these different calculators, I have to remind myself that using the TI-30X family is very different from the TI-84. And naturally, the Nspire, just by looking at it, you can see that that's a different skill set. Okay, now, before I enter it, I always go up and make sure that my plot is off. And it is off, and I can turn on plot on and off. Watch what happens. I push my graph and you don't see it because of the zooming. Thank goodness. But if I zoomed, you might see those dots from it. It has some dots here. I'll go ahead and enter to get rid of it. Now you could go and look and see what you have in there by saying second Y equals, and there it is. Okay. And it is verified off. I push enter. And that's what you would see. You would see green, but it would be from a list that I have in the background. Okay. All right. So let's go back to my Y equals. Okay. And I have my plot off. So everything is well. So let's say 44.95. Then I push X and plus 20. Okay. And you can see that I've kind of used my buttons up here. So I am going to clear that out. Okay, I have it entered. Let's graph it. So you see that blue. Now remember, I don't like that blue. It doesn't show up good. It doesn't show up well. So I can change the color and other things, okay? So I'm going to push enter and let's go with that. I could go red or that magenta color. There it is. Okay. But when you change it, make sure you go to OK. All right, there we go. Now, yes, it is graph, but I need the table. So go second graph, and that gives me the table. Ooh, but looks to me like it's set up for another problem where it's got ask on. So let's see what's going on with that. Second and zoom. Okay, no, second window. There it is. Second window. Sorry, zoom wasn't what we needed. As you could see, that would change all the colors and everything. But what we really need is second window. Okay, well, my table starts at 0. It goes in steps of 1, like your TI-30 family and other TI calculators, but it's on ask. Okay, and remember the TI-30, if you watch that part of the video or the other videos, you know that it also has this, but only for the X. Okay, so I want to press auto. Okay, now let's go to second graph to go to my table. And there you go. We can verify for 1, 2, 3, and 4 the values of y, and that is our range. But let's go back and look at the ask. Okay, second window. Let's go back and put it on and see if we can get it to do what we want. Okay. All right, so it's all set up. Okay, now let's say second graph. Okay, it's not automatic like other calculators. You have to know where to go. Okay, so what domain do I need to put in to get my range? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, of course. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and it verifies. Notice that you have a lot more viewing lines. You have a large window compared to your 30 family. Okay, and we have verified option D. Now, let's learn another. To solve number 2 using the Desmos Graphing Calculator, and it doesn't matter which version you're using, either the one online that is the general public one or your TExES version for testing. For this particular question, it'll work for both. Okay, so what do we need to do? Well, we need to enter the question, of course, into the calculator. Okay, so go to your line. Actually, you can go to any line you want as long as you know how to turn your questions on and off. Okay, so we need 44.95. Okay, and you can use your keyboard, and that's what I just did, or pull up your there at the bottom. You've got a keyboard, so as you can see, mine gets hidden underneath my video, but pop it up and you can use that too. So there's your X. Okay, and then I don't hear, let me push it up so you can see the whole thing. Here we go. Okay, so plus 20. Okay. All right, so that gives us a line. But again, like on your calculator, if it's a graphing calculator, well, that line doesn't do us a whole lot of good. So what do? We push this gear right here, edit list. Okay. And then as you see, my line has some options that popped up. Well, the option that I want is this, creating a table. And then what is my domain that I need to look at? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I simply type in 1, enter, 2, 3, and then 4. Really don't need the others, so I can get rid of those. But what I like to do is go to the bottom and then use the back button so I don't get rid of anything important accidentally. Okay, that verifies option D. That option D is what we needed. And if you didn't watch the rest of the video or you're not familiar with the answer, I'll state it again. This is a discrete situation. So A and B are out because they're continuous, and C is the domain, which goes with the 1 to 4. So C is not valid. Okay, we're looking for the right. Okay, thank you for watching. If you would like the materials that accompany these videos, you can visit us at numbersarenadical.com. And once again, everyone, happy testing.